here's the dealio. I've been thinking for a while about how I'm going to stream or record World of Warcraft because I don't think it would be interesting to record 200 hours of herbalism, so we're not going to do that. Also, I give endless shit to Final Fantasy XIV for its mandatory main story quest feature. If you don't know, in FF14, in order to do any of the endgame content, you have to play through every quest mission in the game sequentially. You can't skip any of it. And I still think that a lot of my concerns with that system are, deserved and reasonable, but from seeing the alternative with WoW, something's definitely missing in WoW. This game's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying playing it again after 10 years. But the issue is that the way that it's constructed, you can never finish the story for an expansion when you're playing it after it's been released. Your character levels up way too fast, so best case scenario, just from the questing space, you're only going to do about a fifth of the plot before you out-level the area. And then they pretty evenly split the story between, zone questing and raids, and none of the raids are doable. I mean, you can go and one-shot them solo, but you're not going to get the original experience that was associated with it. So for that reason, I'm not going to stream or record much of the old content outside of a first impression. I've avoided going to the Warlords of Draenor expansion so far. I'm going to do all of that blind here on stream and for YouTube. And I'll do the same thing for Legion in the beginning of Battle for Azeroth. And then I'd like to do something similar to 14, where once we get to the endgame content, I'll stream or record unique instant stuff with other people, like Hapax, Ginny, and Matt. And other than that, deactivate my sub in between expansions. If it takes a show 11 seasons to go downhill, it's pretty great. That's true. It's not a bad show, for the most part. Andrew has definitely got me pretty hooked on it. Not a big fashion guy, though. Alright, I have not been to Warlords of Draenor. I just finished Mists of Pandaria, which I actually enjoyed quite a bit. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Kind of seemed like they were going escalating threat, escalating threat, escalating threat. Wrath of the Lich King, natural ending to the story, and then they're like, we don't know where to go with this now. Let's just go somewhere totally different. Congrats on being 5,000% richer. I know, right? I guess that's some of the stuff I've done off stream, includes farming for money, leveling up professions, that sort of thing. Speak with Archmage Khadgar. Zeppelin to Warsong, Orient Thunder. Really? That doesn't seem what they want to do. Foot of the Dark Portal in the Blasted Lands. Okay, I know how to get there. Pandaria is after Cataclysm. I could probably pop over there and show some of the zones, but it's pretty gorgeous. It's a very different take. Stories seem to have, like I said earlier, I didn't get to finish it. I got to do the first third of it, and then I had out-leveled all the content. But it opened very simply, it established some themes. The whole concept is that in that continent, bad vibes, bad thoughts take physical shape as these evil spirits. And the very first mission, the evil spirits pop up, and the threat starts to escalate in that area for a while. And I believe that the whole story ends with that. Yeah, right. Cataclysm was, I think, less about Deathwing and more about we need to have an excuse to redo the opening zones and add flying mounts to them.
This is our chance. Storm the portal!
I believe Warlords of Draenor is time travel. I'm going to Outland again, but I'm going to Outland as it existed in the past, before the demons showed up and fucked everything up. Anyway, I read Cataclysm as we need an excuse to redo all of these old zones. I guess it had a story, but I didn't really see it on this character very much. Hey, Thrall's here. Aw, man. He's got a new haircut, too. Countless times you battled against impossible odds. Alright. Find the Iron Horde missive. They do a good job of having big battles. I think a lot of it's trickery. I don't think it's actually tracking the stat differences between all these enemies that are fighting each other here. This is definitely the weakest I've felt in this game against this particular group of mobs, which is suggesting to me that maybe I should not be fighting them. I am level 94, and I think I'm allowed to access this content at 90, and that's from XP that I've earned from doing archaeology, which I'll show on stream at some point. It's actually super fun. It's basically Chocobo Hot and Cold from Final Fantasy IX. Alright. Got a missive, Warsong Clan. Okay. Hey, that's Garrosh's ancestor. Disable the spires of the Fell Portal. Right.
You, outsider, seek out Gul'dan. If you truly wish to stop the Iron Horde.
He's like the ultimate warlock or something, right?
Look, the portal grows weaker.
Hobbyist archaeologist. Yeah.
Hold that front. Our work is nearly done. Buddy, we got your back.
That's cool. I like the trail there. There's some really cool visual effects in this as well. Dude, some of the quests in Pandaria were really rad.
Those iron cowards were using us as conduits to power their portal. They will regret that. The Shadow Council thanks you.
No problem, man. Happy to help.
Iron Horde!
There's a daily quest in Pandaria. Maybe I'll pop out and show it today that I was really impressed with. It's basically the Crash Bandicoot 3 Tiger missions, but you're like rolling down this long hill, and there's like these power-ups that you can collect to speed you up. I'm just shocked that they were able to make it work in this engine. Lots of the little daily quests are like that. It's like a rapid-firing cannon. I feel like WoW tries a lot harder to make really unique quests than a lot of other MMOs that I've played. It still has the bare asses and interact with this object. That's cool. I like the big text fighting game introduction. Alright, I can do that. Tell these spooky goats to leave me alone. If anyone playing an MMO knows, you should try to play as little of the MMO as possible, so I'm not going to fight these spooky ghosts if I can help it. You happy? Get down from there. I gotta fight you guys now? Fine. Oh, they have like no health. Perfect. Good, I don't have to play the game. Stasis rune destroyed? No, that thing.
Do not delay, mortal. I can feel the life essence of your armies fading.
My armies?
There will be time for regret later. We will meet again.
The intro quest to get in here didn't really tell me that I was time traveling. I thought it was because they already have time travel in the game. I think that's the whole deal with the golden dragons. Is they're like the time dragons. So I really thought this was gonna have to do with the time dragons. Maybe some other shit's going on.
Observe and reflect.
These are both. I can't equip any rewards, so I'll just take them and not use them.
Keep your guard up.
Follow Archmage Khadgar.
We will not let their great sacrifice be in vain.
Absorb context from the release media. Yeah. I mean,
In here.
this game is kind of a mess. I've been talking with Hapax about it a lot. Like, it's a massive clusterfuck. Just the way everything is oriented, the way the story progresses. I've been having a great time with it.
There is much
Been enjoying it
to
in
learn here.
little bite-sized pieces and moments, but I guess that's going to happen when you have a product that's a living product that's 14 years old.
We cannot stay here long. Soon, the entirety of the Iron Horde will be upon us. Our champion will stay back.
It's like an experience that exists for someone that has played WoW consistently from vanilla to present, with very few, if any, breaks. Bleeding Hollow huts burned. Alright. What's this quest indicator? Does somebody have to wait for it to come outside? So I can't fly, which is a good thing. I had flying immediately in Mists of Pandaria, and it bummed me out, because I missed all of the cool content. Like, got through stuff way too fast. These poor devs can't win, though. I was just saying the correct way to play an MMO is to minimize how much you're playing the MMO. And flying does that. Now, I'm playing as a tank, so I can mostly say screw these enemies, not really deal with them. Why don't they just make a better game experience? Like I was saying, I don't think you can fix WoW. I would love to exist in the alternate reality where Blizzard starts from scratch and, like, Chris Metzen or somebody time travels back to when they start WoW in 2004 and warns them what choice do they make instead. That's what they use time travel for, of course, to make WoW a better game, to fix anything else. Apparently there's, like, giant, super impactful systems that were introduced as recently as Legion, which was the prior expansion to the current expansion, the penultimate one. Huge, overwhelming systems that are just completely thrown out in Battle for Azeroth. You're gonna make a shit ton of money. I think this game's still pretty profitable for Blizzard. Donovan was saying that they actually make more money now that they have those game tokens that you can buy and sell in the auction house, which is interesting to me. Okay, which of these characters do I know that I should care about? Thrall, all the way. He's the best. Why do I know the name Liadrin? Oh, she's a fucking blood elf. The worst. Although I can't really complain about blood elves. Just wait for Hapax to give me shit. They added a thing in the newest expansion where you can make your orc stand upright. And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And I honestly prefer it because my issue with the hunched over orc model is that it, like, kind of bends the texture for their armor is kind of janky when you're all hunched over. But I also look significantly less monstrous now. So I am a complete hypocrite for complaining that, you know, Hapax plays as a blood elf, which is the least monstrous horde race. What does the game want me to do right now?
Knowledge is power.
Alright, keep moving. Got it. There's a big spooky eyeball. That's not where we want to go, though. I think we want to go towards west markers, maybe? No, let's try going the way they were facing. I went to a barber, and I adjusted my posture. And I found out that I could do this because the patch notes say that, oh, after the assault on blah 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 at the end of Legion, now orcs are standing tall. It's like, what? They've had bad posture for, like, a decade and a half because they didn't fight the right raid boss yet? Just say that you changed it. Alright, so, this character I'm playing, the Death Knight, is actually super simple. I know there's a billion things on my bar at the bottom of the screen. But pretty much all I do is I use this number 4 ability, Blood Boil, and that puts diseases on all these guys. It's that little purple thing that's counting down. This is 25 seconds remaining. So that does damage over time. And then I put this thing on the ground. Let me pull some of these jerks. If I pull this thing on the ground, it makes it so that my main attack that I use all the time, Heart Strike, which is on the 1, hits nearby enemies as well, so it lets me AoE stuff. Basically, I press this button until this bar fills up, and then once that bar fills up, I can press this button, Death Strike, and that does a bunch of damage, and it heals me, and it, like, gives me a damage absorb shield. So I believe the way that Blood Death Knight works is that I automatically heal a lot of the damage that I take. So I'm pretty good at long fight sustain, but not very good at, like, taking lots of burst damage all at once. Standing tall is a metaphor. Very engaging. Yeah, no kidding, but it's just funny that, like, they could have just said, hey, orcs now have a new posture option, but, like, oh, because they fought this spooky boss, like, you don't... It's fine. Can't attack that target. Alright, presumably I have to do something here after accepting a quest. I don't see any quest options. Upon taking a death blow, Khadgar will reverse time to bring you to safety. I wonder if Khadgar is a... Maybe he's a golden dragon. It's confusing in this game because the dragons all take, like, human and elf form. And they feel like they spend more time in humanoid form than they do in dragon form. I think he is. He's just described as a mage. Alright, well, I'll keep looking around. I might have to Google it in a second. It says there's a quest up here, but I don't actually see it on my minimap. There's just a magic dude. Right on. Alright, I found myself having to Google stuff a lot in Mists of Pandaria, so this won't be the last time. Hollow Heart Leg Guards. So I'll figure out what quest I was just doing. Blaze of Glory. Ah. If you grab this quest at max level Horde side, make sure to also grab the other 2 quests from the nearby quest givers that are conveniently crouched next to a nearby bush. The yellow exclamation point won't show up if you have trivial quests turned off on your map builders, as is the case quite often at max level. But Khadgar will happily let you go on your way to finish Blaze of Glory and then hit a brick wall until you come back for these 2. Okay. So I have to turn on trivial quests? And this is because I ended up leveling past 90 from doing too much archaeology. Got it. Quest giver's crouched by a bush. Don't hurt me. Yeah, what kind of option is trivial quests? Well, most quests are not trivial. Trivial means that they're so far below your level that they no longer reward a meaningful amount of experience, at least the way that I interpret it. Crouched by a bush? Just turn it on. Still don't see them.
I'm listening. Farewell.
Maybe they meant crouched by the bush where I first met Khadgar? It's an admission of, oh, this content is boring. Yeah, I think it's like it's supposed to be quests that you've out-leveled, except the majority of quests in the game scale to your level. So it's interesting that there are any that don't. Oh, there they are. Ha. So I saw the exclamation point.
This is chaos.
Oh. Slay 6 bleeding hollow orcs. God damn it. I just did that. I'm gonna do it again now that I've actually accepted the quest.
Help us!
Yes, yes.
They were bleeding us dry.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we had much longer. Set us free!
Can do, friendo.
Whoever you are, thank you.
I'm a Death Knight from the future. I'm like a zombie, but I'm a zombie with a heart of gold. And I love time travel. They actually did this thing, I saw somebody talking about it because I was confused. I went to go visit a zone in the classic areas, like the main continents. I think it's the zone with, is it Silithus? The bug people? Anchorage, I want to say. Anyway, I was looking something up there, and it said that there's 2 different versions of that zone now. And I guess there's an NPC for Battle for Azeroth. You talk to that NPC, and it lets you, like, time travel to the way the zone existed before the new expansion started. So that's kind of a cool approach if they're actually building that directly into the game. It's like, yeah, we're going to fundamentally change zones as part of a expansion story, but you can still go back and visit the old version of it. But I don't think they've really ever thought of this game from an archival perspective, but we want to save some of these experiences. I love beating up things that are deemed capital B bad. The casual consequence-free time travel. And usually, like, the reason you would go time travel back to the zone would be like,
Find a way through.
I need to go get
This is a
fucking
savage man.
iron ore. I don't need this ultra eternium ore that's in the
I'm
future.
back in one piece.
So this didn't get changed by Cataclysm, which I guess makes it the only remaining OG zone. Oh. I think it got pretty changed in battle. I didn't look into the details, but it sounds like you go there a lot, or at least you go there very early in Battle for Azeroth. Speak with Ariak.
What do you need?
Yo.
Be safe. You and I against an entire clan. Sounds like my kind of fight.
The Bleeding Altar. I was here earlier, friend,
Hollow orcs
but I didn't know I had a quest
love
yet.
magic
So.
to transform their warriors into hulking berserkers. With any luck, we will escape before they can complete their transformation ritual.
Wait, so green orcs are unusual? Orcs are space aliens in this game. So are demons. Demons are also space aliens. Maybe it's the red orcs that are the crazy blood crazy ones. That would make sense. What's up? Oh, we gotta destroy these blood orbs. Okay.
I can see you.
Oh, that's creepy. Kilrog. Green is their corrupted color. Okay. I gotta go all the way up there and I can't fly. I guess people are really upset about the way that they've reduced button presses for every class.
Our work is nearly done, champion.
What I described earlier of having a main attack that I use off cooldown if I have nothing else to do that builds energy, having a AoE that's on a cooldown, a spender that's on a cooldown, and a single target attack that's on a cooldown. Like, apparently every class now has that same combination of things. But it's also nice to not have 50 billion abilities on the bar down here. It still looks like a lot.
Look what dragged itself.
Hey, it's
from the
Kilrog.
jungle.
That was his eyeball.
Fresh meat.
I feel like Kilrog's probably mentioned more in the early Warcraft games. I only know a little bit about Warcraft 1 through 3, mostly Warcraft 3 from WoW Osmosis and Wrath of the Lich King. He's pissed.
Please
Whoa,
don't
he just
wander
warped me out of
too
there.
far. We need you here, champion.
What? Alright.
There is much we can
Frickin'
learn here.
Khadgar is a railroading DM over here. How dare you?
First we deal with the bridge.
That bridge has been dealt with.
Now, let's get moving.
I did this really cool mission in Mists of Pandaria where it was like these 4 characters and they were all telling like Rashomon different versions of a story. And rather than the game just showing me that in cutscene, it had me control each of the characters and do some stuff from their perspective with a limited action bar that was specific to the character. Like one of them was a rogue, so I took control of her and I had to do a little sneaking mission. It wasn't particularly hard. I think that sort of thing is... I would love to see in an MMO that's entirely built around that sort of storytelling, because it's not all that different from a traditional RPG. You're playing these other characters and role-playing as them, instead of you just being this superhero all the time that's killing all the monsters. So I'm getting low on health, and I use Death Strike to try to get health back for the most part. I also have a lot of other things that are regenerating health passively. Like I make these gross little bloodworms that apparently didn't spawn here. But they like gorge themselves and they blow up, and when they blow up they heal me a little bit. It's very nice. Farseer Drekthar. Fire's Ring of Fire. No, Ring of Fire.
Dying down. What is happening, Exarch?
We have a visitor. Perhaps a savior. We are freed. Follow me, shaman. We will escape through the hills.
Come on. Man, I saw them do it. That means that I'm supposed to do it, right? Aren't, you know, they just went a really stupid way. Okay.
You must listen to the land.
Slave Breaker Chest Guard.
You bring honor to our clan.
So on the one hand, they added these heirloom items. This is part of what I've been doing off stream, is farming to be able to afford these. They scale with your level up to a certain cap, usually the level cap of the previous expansion, and they give you extra experience so that you can get through the old stuff faster. But a side effect of those, even though they're very cool and they're account bound, is that I don't care about any of the loot from these expansions now.
And stay close.
It makes me wish that I was an enchanter, because I could at least disenchant them and sell the dust.
This may be a trap, but at least we'll die with honor.
You tell me.
This slaver and torturer knows nothing of honor.
You have entered my arena, strangers. You will either leave it as victors or as corpses.
I do super dig that, I gotta say.
Now, kill your 100 or die.
The popping up with the name of the character. I'm caught up. Got Gul'dan, Kilrog, Kargath. The brevity is something that I'm a really big fan of. I can get the point without a 30-minute cutscene. But Prop, you're probably right that I'm missing context from external media, cutscenes, comic books, that sort of thing. This is kind of a cool mission. I have to kill 100 dudes. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV does this sort of crazy over-the-top stuff, but it's almost never in the questing experience. It's usually something you run into in the raids or the dungeons. Yeah, the whole leveling out of it is what's... I don't know, it's a bummer the way it progresses, because like you still have to progress through the quest chains more or less in order. So if you really want to see the full story of an expansion, you pretty much have to stay there long after the point there's any reason to stay. I don't know how they fix it. Maybe they give you some extra resource for completing quests that are below the level cap or something.
But we don't have that kind of time.
I mean, I guess you could do the story just for the story's sake, but...
I only counted 99 kills, wizard.
Then I guess we...
Oh, you can turn off XP? I didn't know that.
After them! Don't let them get away!
Oh, you can't queue dungeons anymore when you get too high of level?
They fall.
I thought they applied the level syncing system to dungeons as well. I was actually confused when you guys said that you wouldn't be able to play with us, because, I thought that it still level synced you down like 14 does for dungeons, or is that just for the open world, or only in certain ranges? I guess they have the time-walking dungeons. It's frustrating.
We will find a way through. Lady Leander, take Olin with you and scout the cave.
At your command.
There is no honor in this. We must get out.
The progression at the beginning of this is very cool.
Commander.
I really like the beginning of Pandaria. I really like the beginning of, I did a little bit of Cataclysm off stream. I didn't record it. I didn't actually realize that I was walking into a Cataclysm zone until I was in there for a good 20 minutes. But it's like this event where you get on a boat and your ship gets attacked by a kraken, and then you spend like 3 hours underwater. You have to figure out how to breathe underwater, you have to save a bunch of drowning orcs, you have to get this like seahorse mount. Hey Yukubo, how's it going? Yeah, I honestly don't like soloing dungeons. It feels bad. Like, a lot of the dungeons and raids and stuff in Final Fantasy XIV are much more trivial if you go back to them now, just because of the way the stats and stuff have changed, but, you know, you have to try a little bit. The fact that stuff dies in one hit super bums me out, and I hope that that's something that they come up with a solution for. It seems like they're building systems that assume that players are going to go and run old raids that used to require 20 people or 25 people and do it solo. So like there's a system that changes the loot that you get depending on if you're over 20 levels higher than the dungeon. And it's like, they know that that's an experience that players crave. I wonder if you can actually craft a fun gameplay experience from that. I don't know, maybe it's fun for some people to go in and just wreck everything every single time. Yeah, they would do that even if they weren't getting transmogs or rewards, you know what I mean? So NPC in Orgrimmar, you can pay 10 gold to turn on or off XP. Okay, that's cool. I'll probably get there from archaeology, if nothing else. Let's see. Archaeology gives a shitload of experience. Like, I should see how much XP I get from finishing a quest. Can I see that here? Okay, so it's not rested, I get 22,000, let's say it's 27,000 XP for finishing a quest. I get 11,000 XP for doing one archaeology node. And you're typically going to do like 10 nodes in a row.
With his commander's dead, Ner'zhul will surely come looking for us. I'm not leaving without the others.
Alright. Ner'zhul is the Lich King, right? Or sort of. He's the evil orc that possesses the Lich King's armor. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think if I make any alts beyond the ones I already have, I currently have a Death Knight, a Priest, and a Rogue. But if I make other ones, I'm just gonna level them with archaeology. I mean, the rewards are all bind on account and money and stuff, and I can do it somewhat AFK. It takes such a long time to fly between archaeology nodes that I can like go work on stream stuff in between those steps. Hungra. So the Draenor or Draenor or whatever, they're space demons, but they're not red space demons because they're not like super evil. But they come from Space Demon World, Argus, I want to say it's called. Hi Ben, how are you, little guy? I'm sorry you got spooked while snuggling earlier. Very soft. What you doing? It looks dramatic, but that exploding blood effect is actually very nice because it means that my blood worms are popping and healing me, apparently. Death Knight's an interesting class. I feel like the whole specialization system means that Blizzard is essentially committed to making 3 classes for every 1 class that's in the game. And I guess I don't remember how it worked in Wrath, but I don't think that was their original intent. The players just kind of gravitated towards certain talent selections and kind of made a damage-focused priest or a shield-focused priest. But they've embraced it after a while. Demon Hunter only has 2. That's interesting. I wonder if that's a sign of things to come. Apparently there's a rogue specialization that's terrible. I rolled a goblin rogue so that I could do some herbalism. We have to level up our professions in the guild in order to unlock things. And I started by picking the really, really bad specialization.
Stop that orc from opening that portal.
Play a demon hunter healer that heals with eye lasers. Sounds pretty awesome.
You from beyond our portal. You will make a marvelous.
No, I think it's Subterfuge? Subtlety? The one that's supposed to be based around being in stealth all the time. But it's not even like a mild performance difference, I think. It's always nice when bloodworms pop, right? Gotta have my bloodworms. Stun you for like 5 seconds. It's a really long time in an MMO. I'm good, man. I wonder if we're going to see Ner'zhul. That, presumably that's him. Yes, it is. The Lich King, sort of.
So fast, Ner'zhul.
Yes, step closer. I will bury you alive for the glory of the Iron Horde. Get us out of here!
Cool. Thanks, Khadgar.
That was close. There is no turning back. We press on, through the very jaws of the beast.
Wee. God, they gotta bring Thrall back. Says there's a quest ready to return it. Oh, there he is.
It
Buff
is
is
a
he
good
giving?
day to fight.
Not a real
The
buff.
Horde has important work here.
Obtain 30 Blackrock
Our
weapons.
spirit will triumph.
Okie doke. Save us, Khadgar. Hey, do you know what the plot is of Warlords of Draenor? I know it involves time travel. Is Khadgar... Is he, like, allied with the Golden Dragonflight or something? Does he have time travel powers? Like, I thought there would be a little intro quest line that was explaining why we were going to Draenor before it became Outland, and it didn't really say anything. It was just like, yeah, go talk to Khadgar, and it's like, alright, go to the Dark Portal. Space and time travel. I'm fighting the space alien orcs before they invaded Azeroth. I guess they were already getting rid of the hunches for the important orcs by this point. Like, Thrall isn't hunched. I got a archaeology artifact recently that like spawns a mirror image of myself. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. You can see what a character used to look like, because I don't think they fixed it to include the posture setting. Here we go. Wait, does it not work here? Suck. There it goes. Yeah, so there's bad posture, my character. There's good posture, my character. Toy box is really cool. Bunch of little stupid, like, cosmetic stuff to do in town and roleplay with. Got this drum from archaeology as well. Play it and it makes like a drum noise. You can annoy everyone in Orgrimmar. Built of our own toys. I should do that. Cool. I can. I did this from finding fossils. I can trap myself in amber for 5 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's like this whole story behind it. It explained what the artifact was, why I was able to get this thing. Like these wind chimes that when I use, it tells me what the weather is and plays like a little noise. Turn into a wisp. That's convenient. Soon they'll make a theme park after me in 65 million years. Right. No, this game has a lot of cool little things all over the place to explore and discover. I think that's one of my favorite things about it. All of the flavor stuff they've managed to not get rid of, it feels like. Outside of the early super flavorful stuff I was talking about, like the one that I always come back to is the fact that back in Classic, Warlocks had an ability where you killed a party member to summon a demon. Flavorful as hell. Understand why it's not in the game anymore. But there's still some class. I wonder if it works for lava. Let's see. Where's my arrows? It does not work for lava. Never mind. Death Knight has an ability that lets them walk on water that's like never relevant in real content ever. But it's just kind of a cool little flavor thing. That's neat. You like put ice at your feet. And you do a Jesus thing. Demonology gets skill procs when your own demons die. That's cool. I like the whole concept of having to sacrifice a party member. Yeah, I hear that the battle pet system is like pretty fully featured, right? Comparing it to Pokemon isn't unfair. Oh, these guys drop Black Rock weapons. I should be fighting them. Okay. Apparently, the most crazy, nutso, awesome thing about Death Knight is... I'll show what this ability is in a second. It's the one thing that no other class has in the game. I have to get an enemy that's far away from me. It's this ability. I can grab people and pull them to me. It's apparently super good. What do you like about D&D compared to video game RP? Silly flavorful things like that can be really useful in specific situations. Yeah, I agree. I think that's my favorite thing about D&D as well, when someone takes a silly tool. Like one of my favorite magic items in all of D&D is the treeform box. It says it's a box that turns you into a tree. It's like, while you're a tree, you don't age. You can be a tree for 1,000 years. Like, how am I going to use that in a fun way? Use it for an interrupt? Interesting. I imagine some bosses have to be immune to it, right? They even have an AoE version of it. But I think it's AoE based on the thing that I target, maybe? I think if I use it on this guy, it's not actually going to pull him. It's going to pull everything to him. Okay. I think I'm supposed to use that on party members. To, like, stack stuff on my DPS or something. I made you drop your thing. I do like that I can handle big packs of mobs. That's not how I remember WoW. Even on a Frost Death Knight tank back in the day. Okie doke. Let's go. Probably randomize my mounts at some point. Oh, I got this thing for collecting most of the heirlooms. If you're an engineer, you can make a Mechano Hog, but if you get all the heirlooms, it assumes that you're super rich because the heirloom prices are set based on some old expansion before there was a shitload of inflation. So you get a chauffeured Mechano Hog, where you have a different orc and he like talks to you while he drives you around. It's pretty great. You can use it 1 to 20. Oh, you can use this before you get mount training? That's cool. I need to find out what all the flavorful mount and like companion effects are. I don't know if someone's made a thread. This game is really hard to Google for because they change everything with every expansion. And you could Google, like, can I use this? and they'll get this big list that says, yeah, you could totally use this, but it's 3 years ago, it's no longer true. Since you're not driving. That's awesome. I guess that fits too with the whole heirloom thing.
You three, follow our champion onto the battlefield and listen for my call. I have a plan.
I guess there's a, let's see. Oh shit. That sounds really loud. I hope it's not as loud to stream as it is in my ear. That's an add-on I have called Get the Fuck Out. That yells at me when I'm standing in shit, and it's really effective at getting me to not stand in shit. Apparently there's a mount that, while you're in it, you don't have to dismount in order to gather herbs, which sounds really helpful. I wonder if I can configure the volume of that. It's the perfect volume to get me to fucking move, but I don't know if I want people on stream to hear those noises. If you hear that sound, that means I'm fucking up, though. Fuck out volume. Soft. Thank you. Let's try that. Eevee Tamagotchi. Yeah. I finished getting my herbalism up, so I don't need it. The Sky Golem. Cool concept, though. That's cool. Yeah, I don't think the game does a very good job of tracking which things have cool, flavorful effects like that. Like, even the Sky Golem that lets you gather herbs, nothing in-game tells you that it does that, I don't think. At least it's not categorized like that in the menu. It's a little bit softer. I go one step further down. I'm gonna kill this guy first since he's the one that makes the beeping noise. Could also try interrupting him, maybe? Let's try that. Something you doing? Good morning, Kaihan. Quiet. Let's try that. Play sounds when muted. Trivial content alerts. Oh, enable alerts for trivial content. I see why you wouldn't want that. Ogron Warcrusher. Those are probably the big fat guys, right? That dude? Yeah. It's not an ogre. It's an Ogron. Different. Yeah. I've had a lot of people tell me that Warlords is garbage, and to get through it as fast as possible, and that Legion is really great, and that Battle for Azeroth is okay, but the story is kind of stupid. So I'm excited to see what that's all about. The endgame of Warlords was trash. Yeah, it's like they made a corporate decision to change the pace at which they were going to release expansions at the end of Warlords, I think. Which meant that they didn't finish their plans for Warlords and they stopped releasing content and it was just a drought for a really long time or something like that, right?
How goes the fight?
The leveling story was great. There's nothing to do after. Okay. Yeah, I had heard bad things about Pandaria, and after playing it, I'm like, Pandaria seems amazing. I don't see what the problem is. Apparently, it got bad press before it came out. People assumed it was going to be bad because LOL pandas. But then it actually ended up being super good. Everyone had an instance base, so you never saw their players. That doesn't bug me terribly. So far, I think my favorite stuff I've done in this game have been in Pandaria.
Well, I'd say we made an impact.
I kind of want to go do my favorite quest that I've seen in this game so far, but it's in Pandaria, and I don't know how the hell I get back here. This is one thing about the expansions in this game, is they really like kind of go hard and assume that you're going to be questing in that zone for a really long time, so it feels kind of awkward to pick up and leave and go check something else out. Didn't like the dungeons, adored the zones. Not even saying that Battle for Azeroth is the best raiding environment that WoW has ever had, which is high praise. Someone who's played like every expansion since vanilla and has never quit. Okay, so my Blood Boil ability, my number 4 skill, gives me stacks of this buff. I make it so when I use Death Strike, I recover way more health. And I get extra stacks of that hemostasis buff for every enemy I hit with Blood Boil. Okay, this hasn't mattered in any of the I just got that ability recently from talents, so I get it. What's up?
Just get me free, stranger. I could
No switch issues now.
with this shovel alone.
What kind of issues are you talking about? This guy just attacking a rock? Alright. Oh yeah. I have some add-ons related to loot. I have the add-on that lets you makes auto-looting stupid fast. So normally if I didn't have that add-on, I'd still have to right-click and then wait for it to slowly pull everything. I have one that sells all my grades to vendors as soon as I talk to them. I have one that repairs all my gear whenever I talk to a repair NPC. I should look through what else I have after this fight. I have the big UI mod that makes the UI much nicer to look at. The bag mod I really like, because it gives you recent items and you can clear those, and then it separates them into like what they are. It puts all the free spaces into a single spot, because I don't need to have that taking up a huge amount of screen real estate. And it gives me the eye level for all the stuff that I've collected, so that's neat. What else is on here? Auctionator is pretty necessary for selling stuff on the auction house. Details is my DPS meter, but I don't have it turned on. I guess I can turn it on. That's the problem. It's in the bottom right. I can also make it show me the whole party when I'm questing, so who cares? Yeah. There's quite a bit of visual jank in this game just from being so old. What else we got? Get the fuck out is the thing that makes a bunch of noise. Gathermate displays gathering nodes on the map as I collect them. Not using Ice HUD. Routes let me display like traveling salesman problem routes in between gathering nodes, so I don't have to figure out what the ideal path is. Not using Tell Me When. Not really using TomTom. It's just what it sounds like. It's just a little GPS arrow. And I probably won't end up using Deadly Boss mods until I get to endgame content. 14 feels a lot more visceral. Like, I can feel the impact of virtually all of my actions as any class in 14, which is very surprising to me because I always consider Blizzard is like the visceral developer. They've always been really good at adding a lot of oomph to your actions. It was something that made, when Kevin had StarCraft on as his subblock game, I had probably the best experience of any RTS I've ever played while playing StarCraft, because the game did a really good job of making me feel the weight of my actions. And I don't really feel it very well in Death Knight. I'm like struggling to realize, like, oh, I'm hitting all these guys, or I'm doing damage, or they've got dots. Yeah, Diablo 3 is fantastic at it. Getting a Hearthstone in my garrison soon. Yeah. I want to go do a daily there, show it off. It was one of those, holy shit, I wish that Final Fantasy XIV and other MMOs played around with their engine like they do with this game.
Have you seen my wrench anywhere?
Shadow of the Worldbreaker.
Those irons in the fire? Do you feel?
Tell me, what do you see?
Yeah. Feels like you're attacking nothing. It's tough. There's stuff like the little arrow that pops out of characters in Final Fantasy XIV that shows you when someone's been aggroed or what someone's targeting. Like, it's the sort of thing that you don't actively notice it most of the time. It just kind of is happening. But you can really tell when it's missing. I don't know if it's just not been a priority for a while. Or maybe Blizzard is just expecting that if people want this sort of feedback, they're going to get it through mods. Black rock powder keg. In this room, there it is. Neat.
There she goes.
Oh, that's cool.
Wait for it.
Phasing hype.
Oh,
That's pretty sweet.
prettiest thing. How can I help you?
Oh, dwarves. Nobody plays as you.
Be good.
It's very sad. Hey, level 95. That means literally nothing? Does anything happen at 95? No. I believe that once you get to level 80, you get 2 talents. You get one at 90 and one at 100, and nothing else. From 80 to 120. I really hope they do that level squish that I was hearing about.
Knowledge is power.
I do like Dark Iron. No, I like dwarves. If I were playing Alliance, I'd totally play as one. But apparently they're the least played race by a pretty wide margin. Them and goblins, actually. See what they
Have you seen my wrench anywhere?
should do it, Yukipo.
Now do the fixing. Now, let's get up on that tank.
What made Dwarf Priest so good back in Classic? Did they have a really good racial or something? I saw they're changing the Worgen models. The male ones look really good, but I'm a little bit worried about the female ones.
Look back there. Think we can climb up.
They're like way too cute. Friendly looking. They're supposed to be werewolves. God, look. Oh, that's cool. He's got little gun turrets on his back with separate health values. So I really like shit like that. They did some good AoE indicators in this game as well. Without going for Final Fantasy XIV's, well, I guess 14 does unique ones for certain bosses. You mostly get that experience with just the generic orange ones. Werewolves are the definition of cute. Oh, Dwarf Priest can make people immune to fear? That seems pretty good. Yeah, wow. Seems pretty good. I was gonna make a Goblin Warrior because I think Warrior is the least played Goblin class, but I figured 2 tanks would be redundant. And Rogue gets a lot of nice benefits for the main thing I was rolling Goblin for, which was Alchemy. Climb the rear chains of the Iron Warbreaker. That's really cool looking. The art in this game is still pretty great, even if the combat animations leave something to be desired. I think I have to get off of me. Mount.
See the controls.
Yeah, the zones are gorgeous. You'll receive 40 gold. God.
Looks
To
like
the
we
World
lost
Breaker's side
just
turret.
in time.
Hop into that turret and keep them away. See if I can get this thing going. Kaka, buy me some time.
People complain about that, and Paladins reduce threat buff, giving Alliance an advantage in raids.
Keep these orcs off of us.
Apparently, Horde has a huge mechanical advantage right now, and everyone's complaining that there's a population issue on most servers. This is 6. Leaf turret. Yeah, little missions like this are really cool. I'm not freaking out about this because I've done something like this several times in Pandaria, but
Look out!
it feels big and impactful. I guess the problem is I don't think any of these are losable. At least not the ones I've done.
Oh, these controls don't make sense. Remind me never to drive a tank built by an orc.
There's one in Pandaria where you like are on this wall, and it's very much like inspired by the wall from Game of Thrones. And there's all these like creatures attacking the wall, and you have to throw big like jugs of oil on them, and then you have to light them on fire with a match, and they run around and just it's like hundreds and hundreds of little mobs running around. That if you walked up to them in the game world, you'd be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all these enemies? They mostly just exist for these little side quests. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Been noticing a couple Alliance characters on the Horde side. I'm sure it happens to the Alliance as well.
There are so many of them. Don't you give up yet, Paladin.
That's it! I've got her running! Let's finish this!
Yeah. Press the main cannon trigger. Can do. Hey, it's a cutscene. What's the difference between Maghar orcs? They're not corrupt, they're not green, basically. I thought they were the only ones that had the tall posture at first. But all of these ones have tall posture. Hey, it looks like the box art.
Eager to meet death. Look then upon the countless faces of your demise. Rise up, Iron Horde!
I recognize this guy's voice actor.
War chief. Their heads.
Never drank the demon blood. Oh, okay.
How can I help you?
Home stretch.
Have a good one. That danged army should be here any minute. Let's
What am I doing on guild rep? Sweet. Once you recruit, you go back in time, side around back when Grandmaster is still alive. Let's see.
The docks. Run to the
Oh,
docks.
that's dark.
Run! Run!
Come at me, Hellscream! Don't be a fool, Gano. Run! We will fight another day.
Look out! Keep moving. I see the ships ahead.
That's cool. They do some of that in Final Fantasy XIV, where they'll have a little mission where you go back to a raid zone and do something that used to be a big party fight.
At the end of the road.
Like, I think there's one where you have to fight Ifrit solo as summoner.
Go! Go!
There is no
You get a bunch of NPCs helping you.
outsiders. This is my world. We will find you.
We Frostwolves will be waiting for you, Hellscream. You! Your ogres! Your whole Iron Horde! You're as good as dead!
Alright, Draenor, chill out. Made you do Titan hard again. One of these guys has a turn in. There it is.
Observe and reflect. Be vigilant. Let's get underway then. We will need to build a stronghold if we hope to end the Iron Horde threat. And we're going to need help from the natives. To the home of the Frost Wolves.
Yeah, second where the camera locks, turning in items in general. It's a good way to put it. I've had to Google what the hell I'm supposed to do in a quest. I've read the quest text, but like I found a comment on Wowhead where there's this big thread where there's like 50 people saying, "Hey, I can't find this NPC. What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a phasing bug. You gotta like back up and log out and log back in, and then walk at it from the right direction." And it's pretty janky. Kilraw Gul'dan.
Who is there?
Home of the Frost Wolves.
Be cautious. For the frost.
Oh, Duratan. Shit. He's pretty important, right? Is he related to Thrall? He's like the namesake of Durotar, right?
The Frost Wolf Chieftain. Ah, yes. Garad's youngest.
And Duratan's crotch is angry axe midget.
Duratan. Wise beyond his years, but still young. I fear he has been thrust into the bronze jaws. Our people are in great danger.
Let me see if I can see it in his model here.
Old friend, you are alive. I can barely
I think I've seen the image you're talking about. Look at that.
I would be dead.
That's funny. It's just like his crotch. That would be Duratan's crotch. It's even funnier than the piece being genuine.
These are champions from a faraway realm, pledged to fight the Iron Horde.
I do like this writing with a character and talking. They did this in Pandaria as well.
This one has green skin.
And I've got blue death eyes. I'm undead.
I do not need eyes to see it. They are noble of heart. They saved our kin, including
Oh, you might be talking about Thrall.
Very well, strangers. You have earned
Doubt they'd
the
have
trust
custom
of our
dialogue for
shaman.
me being an orc.
I will not turn away the help.
The way his wolf is kind of galloping about is not very intimidating. It's kind of cute. Boingy, 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 boingy. Blizzard seems
This
to
land is nothing like Azeroth.
really embrace the memes, right? Like, that's what this is. Yeah, I have the Jenkins title, killing 50 rookery whelps in 15 seconds. I don't know if you can still get that in the game. It says it's a legacy title.
This terrain is ideal for a stronghold.
Oh, is this going to be my garrison?
Open up a portal to Orgrimmar only briefly. Reinforcements are
Dan, an
standing
angry
by, I
axe
hope.
The very best.
That's funny.
Hey, somebody call for a fixer?
You're entrusting a goblin to be your foreman?
Hey, lay off the
Laszlo
goblins.
here oversaw the construction of Orgrimmar.
Orgrimmar, the impenetrable fortress.
It gets pretty penetrated
Wasn't it
by
recently
the Alliance
sacked?
every now and then.
Yeah,
I did see
okay.
Metzen, yeah.
One little sacking.
Because he's the voice of Thrall, right? He asked, when are they going to bring back the true war chief? Sylvanas is pretty terrible.
Right away. Precision Precision goblin engineering.
Trees marked for peons. That's kind of what you do in Warcraft 3, isn't it? Or maybe the original 3 Warcraft games. That's kind of cool. Base building in World of Warcraft. I don't know, I've heard complaints about this garrison system, but it sounds kind of cool. I've heard that Legion has something where you can like recruit characters, and they're like, you know, actual cool characters in the Warcraft lore, and by recruiting them they confer some bonuses to you. You can send them on missions, or you can have one be an ally, which doesn't necessarily mean that there's just someone that follows you around. It's like a buff. They're like, oh, occasionally Valera shows up and throws a bunch of daggers at people. Garrison's a mobile game. I might be thinking of the Legion one as I was described. When I originally heard about Garrison, I thought it was like Farmville, where it's like you have a bunch of tasks that you have to leave running and you come back to them later. Apparently I have to do some of them because I think some of the heirloom slots are gated behind Garrison. Oh, you can't send them out from the app anymore? That was apparently what was incredibly busted, right? That's why the economy's fucked. Because you could have 12 alts at max level and you can manage all of them from the mobile app. So you could send all of them out and make just a boatload of money, which is why Nodovan has like millions and millions of gold. Yeah, you just meant it's in general, it's like a mobile game, it's like Farmville, right? But I don't think the modern versions are like that. Or they're not as bad. I think they still have the whole retainer venture thing where you set them up on missions and you come back hours later when they're done. Yeah, send them on a mission, wait for real amounts of time. Frostfire Grondling. It says there should be another quest here, too. So I'll finish this one and see what happens. Ice Spine Ravagers. 2 to 3k gold per day per tune. Wow. Yeah. Nodovan said he has, like, in the... I think the tens of millions of gold he was saying. Something like that. And a WoW token, one of the little tokens that gives you 30 days of game time, costs 100,000 gold. So he can basically play this game forever for free. Was it really the core mechanic, or was it just the only thing to do at the end? Because they like had to bail out and couldn't provide all of the raid content that they wanted. I don't know, core to me sounds like it's something that the devs intended to be like the main thing that you're doing. I read core as being an intent thing. This was a philosophical decision. This is something that was in the design document, not something that happened accidentally. In Legion, it wasn't the core mechanic. Order Hall was a huge part. There's a ton to do besides your follower missions. Yeah, the whole artifact weapon's the main focus of Legion, right? Which is the thing they spent a ton of time working on and then just completely threw out for Battle for Azeroth. I guess I'll have to get the companion app. Give me my bare asses, guys. Yeah, I've seen some stuff about the way the artifact weapon works. Where, like, you're doing all these little side quests, and you're empowering it, and you're learning really impactful, cool, flavorful traits. That's pretty cool. I don't mind spoilers for that kind of stuff because it's impossible for me to see that stuff anymore, right? Like, even this Warlord stuff, I'm probably going to get maybe 1/9 of the way through it, and then I'll have out-leveled it, and I'll end up moving to Legion, so I never get to see any of that stuff in Legion anyway. At least not as it was originally intended.
So, what's next, Commander? Yeah, I'll take care of it, jeez.
You toss it for a green. Yeah. Jesus. Hey, what's up, Skog? I guess I need to keep my bone armor on by pressing number 2 every so often, so if you ever look at my character and you don't see a bunch of bones swirling around me, fucking up. And not just for defense, I guess having those up increases my haste, the speed at which the GCD progresses by a significant amount. I never want to use that skill except to get the little bones around me. I also have runes, which you can usually see over the head of not-so-giant enemies. Yeah, these like 6 runes. The runes kind of feel redundant now. The way it used to work is you had different kinds of runes. You had blood runes and frost runes and unholy runes. And you had to balance how you use them, which I assume was how Death Knights worked in Warcraft 3 or something. Anyway, those runes still exist, but if you're a Blood Death Knight, you only have blood runes. If you're a Frost Death Knight, you only have frost runes. So there's no system, it's effectively mana.
What you need?
Enemy health bar, yeah, that guy was just really big. You can also see them in my health bar down here. They just simplified as these 6 little blocks, because that's basically all they are. It's like, runes regenerate on their own, that's my generator, and then runic power is my spender, if you're thinking of it in terms of Diablo. I'd build runic power by spending things that use runes. Yeah, it used to be 2-2-2, you had abilities that would let you convert them, and then they streamlined it. But they've streamlined it so far by having each class only have its own kind of rune. It's like, why do you even bother having it be runes? Just make it mana, you know? Man, are they doing... That's the archaeology thing.
Heroic deeds have earned you this Frostwolf land. It is from here that you will lead the Horde to victory, Commander.
That almost seemed like a commercial. Tank DPS. Yeah, I played a Frost tank back in Wrath of the Lich King, and that's apparently not possible anymore. I am I think you can only be Blood if you want to tank now. I really enjoyed Frost. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, healing-based tanking. I like, you know, big defense, you don't take a lot of damage. You can resist big bursty hits. It's funny because I play Warrior in Final Fantasy 14 and they're totally the healing tank. Frost DPS was nuts.
I'm all yours, Commander.
Garrison Hearthstone. Okay.
I'm on it. Oh,
That's cool. Well, we got what we need.
take care of it, Chief.
For the Dark Spear.
Alright, so I want to show you guys this really cool Pandaria quest that it just kind of blew my mind. I'm probably hyping it up too much. It's maybe not as cool as I think it is. Oh, that was the wrong one. That's okay. It's 20 minutes. It'll take me that long to get there. It's pretty sweet, though. Warriors are the worst tanks. I guess Blood Death Knight's actually the best tank, so hey, I lucked out. Look at that. Or it's very good at what it's good at. There's a couple fights where you want to have a different tank. Yeah, I'm excited for that Warcraft 3 Reforged. It'd be a really good sub-block. Give me a lot of context for these games. The problem is, like I was saying, as much as I'm really enjoying World of Warcraft so far, and I'm happy to be playing it again, and I'm looking forward to doing the same thing with Final Fantasy XIV, where I get to the most recent content and then can cut my subscription until there's new patches. The game is a complete clusterfuck. There's so much shit going on in so many different directions, and keeping track of where you are in the storyline finishing the storyline. It's like the beginning of an expansion assumes that you were following what was happening at the end of the previous expansion, but the game never puts you in a place to understand those things. Alright, we're back in Pandaria. The best place ever. Place where dreams are made. Super pretty. If you want to see my first impressions of Pandaria, I actually did upload it was just a VOD to YouTube. I was playing it super early in the morning, so I didn't stream it. Incredibly long, though. You can fast forward through it to the interesting parts. Sure, I'm going the right way here. We want to go down in this corner here. Yeah, at the start of this session, I was submitting that I give shit to Final Fantasy XIV relentlessly for its main story quest, but it sort of sidesteps the problem that WoW has. You know, I have to know what the hell's going on, at least somewhat. You know, I have to have nostalgia for this boss because I was required to fight it to progress through the game. Maybe that's better? I don't know. It's still Stormblood right now. Hey Robin, how's it going? It is real life. How are you? You're behind by like 2 patches. Yeah, because 2 more Omega Scape wings have come out. Couple patches. I think the middle ground is WoW's approach to cutscenes, where, you know, it's really easy to tell what's going on and it all happens in the space of less than a minute. But Final Fantasy XIV's approach to pushing you through the story, if you choose to have it. If this game had a main story quest option that was like, hey, we're going to keep you level synced for everything and we're going to have you play through the whole story to see what's going on in the game, I would totally do that. Because I know that WoW would respect my time. It wouldn't put me in a 20-minute dialogue sequence or have a pop-up saying, hey, maybe you should not go do anything else because this cutscene's going to take an hour. Okay, I gotta find... It's one of these daily quests here. It was so fucking cool. Actually, all of these dailies are pretty neat. Could do this one really good. It's not the one I was thinking of, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, so like I think if they anticipate what you're gonna do is you have to move your camera like this, and you have to come in here. You can't touch any of these things on the walls, and you can't touch any of the pandas, and you have to avoid them for like 60 seconds. And when they hit you, they like knock you out, or they hit you into those fire things which can kill you. And it's just a cool little mission that they threw together using their engine. It's not the one that I wanted to show you, but I dig it. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV is really lacking cool stuff like this. Yeah, exactly. Add an adventure mode, just a way to not do it. That's really the only problem. I mean, I'd also like them to develop their brevity sense a little bit better and not have everything take forever. You don't have to have these 2-hour cutscenes, but having an option in that game and an option in this game to play through it the way it was originally intended would be great. Maybe that's what WoW Classic is eventually going to offer if they add the ability to play through older expansions in that as well. First try. Probably, yeah. Plants vs. Zombies. Alright, let me find this quest. Why are you shook, Robin? I just saw that.
Greetings, one. We are the watchers on the wall. The wall must...
Yeah. I do like that about 14, that you, since all of your things are on a single character, you only have to do everything once. And the way alts work in this game is kind of janky. Oh, this is it. This is so cool. This is like Crash Bandicoot 3, the tiger levels.
May you find mastery in your passions.
So I can't believe they fit this into this game's engine. I played WoW before. Back in when I was living with Phil and Anthony. Super hard for like a year. So cool. If you hit those oil slicks, they slow you down. Oh no! I got it. Okay. Whoa, don't go over the edge! No, I went over the edge, son of a bitch. Try it again. Rolling around at the speed of dirt. Probably extra fun if you play it as a Pandaren.
Tell me of your
Yeah, it's just, I'm just really impressed by that. I know it's not that big of a deal. We've all played video games where you do a mission like that. But MMO engines are really restrictive in what you should be able to do. And the fact that they were able to kludge this together, it feels pretty legit. I was not about it. I was on Team Final Fantasy XI then, Robin. Was the wrong team to be on, according to what happened in history. Don't die the same way. Oh, it was close. No! Oh, I hit an oil slick. Bummer. No! I got way too fast. Alright, one more time. Ah, yeah, those are dark times. Robin's my sister. We used to play, there was this PS2 game called EverQuest Online Adventures that was like watered down EverQuest for console. But it was online. You had to have the HDD and the Ethernet adapter for it. Night, Kami. Yeah, it's pretty floaty. I agree with that. This game surprisingly has more jumping puzzles. Best jumping puzzles are still Guild Wars 2, though. Tell you, Robin, you should play Final Fantasy XIV. Play it all with a controller. It's on the PS4. You and John ever want to check it out, let me know. I'll hook you up. That was the main adventure to EverQuest Online Adventures, I think. No, not again! Alright, I guess I should jump. Title of this VOD, Warlords of Draenor, First Impressions, and Panda Rolling. Failing for, like, 7 consecutive attempts.
You have the
One more
eyes
time.
of one who has
Call it.
traveled much.
Once you start going really fast, it gets pretty tough to control. I resist the urge to press the jump button. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go over the edge. I'm gonna get stuck and lose all my progress. Alright, that's fine. You saw how it works. That's the rolling minigame. I was really impressed by it. Hey, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. So 10 minutes of my gears are so shit.
You're super awesome. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Do you have anything in mind for subblock? Do you want to see more Etrian Odyssey? Oh, you did? Nice. No problem. Getting those, yeah, so there's this big achievement that we're trying to get that lets you unlock heirloom pants. It's obtain 525 skill points in all professions and secondary professions. So I've done archaeology, cooking, fishing, alchemy, enchanting, herbalism. Someone else already did tailoring, so I can't call that one. Mining and blacksmithing. I think Hapax has done engineering, and he might have doubled up on a couple of these with me. Most of them are already done on my priest and my orc death knight, but okay, right on. Gotta wait on my Hearthstone. So this one's only 4 months. That was a lot faster than I thought it was gonna be. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna go do some fucking archaeology because it's riveting content. Are you ready for Chocobo Hot and Cold? I just have to fly all the way to this shovel here. And this is what I've been doing. If I know I have to do some stream work, like I did the subscriber database today, I would do it in between archaeology digs, because I would put myself I would point to the dig that I'm heading to, I'd hit auto run, and I just go over here and start typing away, doing my database update. Oh, I made it. Do my archaeology dig, fly to another one. Easy mode. So, how about the Knicks? Robin, what are you guys playing now? You have a Switch, right? Did you pick up that Taiko Drum Master game? You beat Valkyria Chronicles 4. What do you think of it? Is it good? This is Recruit a Friend. I don't know when I recruited a friend. It must have been in 2009. It's 2-person. I'm using it just because it's easy to see what's going on. The one I was using before that is this guy. Oh, am I only allowed to use it on... No kidding. I might only be able to use it on a tailor. Yeah, I have this flying carpet. I have to be a tailor. No kidding. Alright, well that's the one that I have on my undead character. So playing Breath of the Wild, very nice. I envy you. I wish I could delete my memory of that game and play it again. Okay, just a cape and banner. This whole BlizzCon experience has been a little... Yikes. It's kind of across the board. Equal to Valkyria 1. Right on. We'll play Valkyria 4 on stream at some point. I really like the first one. It seems like it did a lot of cool stuff. It was innovative, but it seems like it's really hard to top that. It's the Tomb Raider reboot problem, where like Tomb Raider 2013 is special because it does all of this stuff for the first time with Tomb Raider, and it's kind of telling us the origin story of how Lara Croft became hardened. And like the second one is still fine. It's just she's already hardened, and we already know what her backstory is, and the reboot's already happened, so it's kind of just more of the same. 2 and 3 tried too hard to innovate. Really? It's interesting. Oh man, now that I've unlocked the Warlords of Draenor zones, I can do archaeology there. Reboot Lara Croft 38 times. Yeah, just keep doing that origin story over and over. Oh my god, we get it. We get it. It's like with Batman. If you show those pearls fall on the ground one more goddamn time. So archaeology is you land in a dig site, and you use the archaeology skill, and there's a little thing that tells you the direction you're supposed to go and how hot or cold you are. And you fly off in that direction, then you stop, and you do it again, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so close! There it is! And you get a dwarf archaeology find. And if you look at your archaeology progress, I don't know why this is so compelling to me, it's awful. You can make these cool relics that you get with these fragments that you collect, and if you collect enough, you can build the relic. Usually it's vendor trash. It's like fancy, flavorful vendor trash that sells for a lot of gold. Sometimes, though, it gives you cool flavor effects like that mirror I was showing that makes a little ghost version of me. This guy. Whoa. Or this one. Oh, I need to have a stone for that one. This one makes a big green bar above my head. Every so often there's a special quest in Legion to get the mount of the main high mountain Tauren dude. So there's like world quests, like fates. Nice. I got archaeology to 600. I just like it because it gives a shitload of XP. Like I'm at a lower area right now, so I'm only getting like 6,000 experience per dude. That's still like 1% of a level, and solving these is really fast and basically painless. Oh, Jim Jam. Now, what's the chance of it in the same one I just did? 3 minutes on my, don't worry, we're gonna get back to compelling content soon. 3 minutes on the Garrison Hearthstone. Should be about the time I finish this. If it was actually Chocobo Hot and Cold, like if they had a version where you had to find as many as you could in a time limit, that would be really cool. I feel like they're pretty close to having developed that anyway. What's the new class in Valkyria 4? I haven't followed any of the news about it. Still further this way? No kidding. Or maybe it's this super far node. Yep. Hey, and I got a dwarf runestone. So once you get all those fragments, you have to solve the puzzle. And if you get one of these bonus runestones, it gives you bonus fragments. I solve it. And now I get this cool funeral urns worth of gold. Ooh. So it gives you a random new thing to research every time, and it happened to give me a pet, which is a little robot gnome that follows you around. I think that's one of the ones that's actually desirable, so that's cool. I'll have to do that off stream. I gotta find more gnome dig sites. Grenadier can be used as a tank buster and infantry buster. Shoots grenades. Oh, that's cool. Right arm. You need all the pets. There's a ton of them. There's a bunch of cool, unique toys and pets and mounts all over the game world from archaeology. If you Google archaeology rewards, you can see what all of them are. They're mostly pretty cool, I would say. Alright. Okay.
Stronghold for the Horde.
More masters up. You're saying I cannot use the companion app anymore to do garrison missions, right? And I can never fly in Warlords until I do all of the meta achievements in the expansion. Now, is that an achievement that I unlock across all my characters, or only the... is it character specific to be able to fly? Words makes your phone Google archaeology. Okay, Google. Archaeology.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that yet, but I'm trying to learn.
Thanks, Google. Forgot that was in the kitchen and could be prepared. Investigate your garrison cache, plus 52 resources. Okay. Oh, is this for the Farmville game? Probably. So.
Right away.
Loader will show you your tune. You can't send the missions out. Okay. Oh, flying or account bound. Oh, that's cool. I actually don't mind that then. So I could go to the work of making that happen on my Death Knight to make sure that my future alts don't have to suffer through not having flying here, basically. Shit, they let me go down there. Ah, I don't have super useful fall damage prevention abilities that I have on Priest. I have slow fall. Okay, that's cool. So even if I did it across multiple characters, I could get credit on them without having to quest in zones that aren't giving me any XP. It's good to know. Pandas all take half falling damage? Wow. That's pretty nice. Right, there's a door into a cave around here somewhere. Here we go. What zone does Frostfire Ridge map to in Outland? I guess these don't all map directly. Shadow Moon does. The Grand does. Jungle does. Bouncy racial food bonuses, that's cool. I'm not super enthused by the orc racials. The goblin ones are kind of cool. They're very flavorful. You can summon a bank to your location. It's kind of a bummer that they get racials like that when there's just items in the game that anyone can get that give that as well. Hey, whatever. So something that's interesting about playing a Death Knight tank, like one of my biggest sources of mitigation is the fact that I take reduced damage when my health is low. So I spend most of the time at like 30% health or lower, thinking that I'm gonna die. Good night, Robin. Thanks for popping in. Good seeing you. So the reason the health bar turns green is if I was in a group, it makes it easy to tell which enemies are on me or not. And I guess they went with green is good, because if I'm losing aggro, it turns yellow, and then it's red if I have almost no aggro on them. But I guess you could do it the opposite way. It'd be like green means you have no aggro, and red means that you have all the aggro. Although I have the add-on that has the bar set up this way configured, letting it know that I'm a tank, so it may have done that. Maybe it flips it if I play as a priest instead or something. Who knows? Cool. I get drudge boat, salvage, and what else? Here's some. Is there a bunch in this cave? I should check before I leave. This is apparently a super common UI add-on that I'm using right now. It's called LVUI. We all saw the default UI when I started streaming this game, and it's not aged well, and I don't think Blizzard cares. They're like, anyone who cares is eventually gonna get an add-on anyway. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about the whole add-on system. I mean, it's kind of how I feel about mods. Like, I'd rather that the core experience be what the developers intend. Final Fantasy XIV definitely has that. Add-ons can feel a little bit gross. Like, I can kind of cheat at archaeology, because one of my add-ons shows me all of the archaeology nodes that can possibly exist. So rather than having to go all the way hot and cold, I can just kind of estimate, oh, this is pointing in the direction of this circular node. I just have to go to that node. Kind of sort of cheating. Oh, yeah. Add-ons are cool until you quit the game and they all break, right? So you use a lot of resources sometimes. The Traveling Salesman add-on is pretty nasty. It's the one where you can map the most efficient route between gathering nodes on your map. It boops itself pretty fast. That's apparently a really hard problem to solve in real life. NP Hard, I think it's called. Oh, Curse? Right, because Twitch bought Curse and renamed it Twitch Desktop App. I just looked up a list of the add-ons you'll want for returning players. I can send you the list if you're interested. And I just dragged all the zip files into the add-on folder and just extract here for all of them. And I haven't been stressing since then. Most of the modern ones either auto-update or they tell you when they're out of date. Learn Garrison Blueprints Barracks 1. Oh, that's cool. They really are trying to like add Warcraft into World of Warcraft. I kind of like the officialness of this, if that makes sense. It feels cool, like there's this custom UI for it. Barracks. Okay. It'll be done in an hour. I should have done this and then gone fucking around in Pandaria. Whoops. First thing, I'm going to copy and employ my handy Senior Peon 2 to help you out. Yeah. I've gotten pretty used to LVUI. It's very customizable. It's a little bit intimidating at first, but you can do this. Looks just like the UI customization in Final Fantasy XIV. Can make a lot of things take up less space. You know, I can go in and say that I want to have portraits whenever I click on people. Turn on nameplates, that sort of thing. Garrison Zone ability unlocked. Drag this on your action bar. Call upon the forces of your garrison to assist you for 30 seconds. That's cool. Can never play 14 again. Time it'll take to recreate is not worth it. Ooh. Recruit a character. Taunt. Chill crafting. Offers chill crafting benefits when assigned to the gem boutique. I kind of like that. No, I've always enjoyed town building in RPGs. Especially when you get characters that have unique benefits. Seal and Umberhide. They do a pretty good job of doing a tutorial for this stuff too. I guess Blizzard's always been good about that. Easing you into stuff. All of my archaeology digs for this continent are in a zone that's way far away. So I won't be doing any today. Don't tell me this is under me. Pretty sure it's under me. Shit. Probably under a cave underneath me. Yeah, the entrance is below here. Nope. It's my man. So what's up with all these Tauren that have these cool giant totems that they're carrying around? Is that just like a custom thing? I don't think that was around back in Wrath of the Lich King. Maybe Cairn Bloodhoof had one. I don't think they're all shamans though. The little totems used to be a shaman thing. Town building's alright, weight gaming isn't. Yeah, I agree. More stuff that makes you feel compelled to log in all the time. It's like retainer adventures in Final Fantasy 14. Hey, Stardew Valley. I don't like stuff being tied to the real clock. Or if you're going to tie it to the real clock, then I'd like to have some kind of hand in it. Or if you're going to tie it to the real clock, let me build up. It's the allowance problem, right? Let me build up allowances of time that I can spend all at once if I haven't played the game in a while. I guess I can understand why they wouldn't want to do that if your sub wasn't active, but if my sub was active and I wasn't playing the game, go ahead and credit me that time for missions like this. Olin Umberhut. I have a mission available now with your ideal for his skill sets. Use the command table to send him on a mission. View mission details. Mission rewards are given if the mission is successful. Oh. Archaeology fragments. Oh yeah. Oh, I can recruit a new character. Right on. This enemy has a threat. Followers that can counter a threat will display the threat icon on the right. Oh. Green checkmark means the threat is countered. Countering threats increases your chance of mission success. Okay. So I wonder if the whole, like, airship missions thing in Final Fantasy XIV was inspired by this. It's pretty similar, but not anywhere near as robust. 100% chance, because I counter it. That's the checkmark. Snow. That's cool. Sweet. Oh, but he's already on a mission, so he can't do both of them. I understand.
What do you need? Strength.
Cool. Oh, and I get a little icon for it. I don't know. I kind of dig this. The weight element doesn't seem that bad right now. I guess if I'm going to be signing into the game anyway and doing other stuff, depends on how much it expects me to manage it.
This land needs you.
Weekly resets aren't so bad. I guess they keep you from feeling like you have to run something over and over and over, and in the case of like hardcore raiding content, you can feel like you're on the same page and the same progress as everybody else. That was the original intent of dailies that we've talked about, that the purpose of dailies way back in the day was supposed to be hey, there's this big gulf between hardcore and casual players. Let's try to shrink that a little bit. But then it kind of created this situation where you feel like you have to log in order to play effectively. Upgrade 200 resources. Okay, I understand. I get resources from doing specific quests, I guess. Send your followers out on 5 missions back to back in order to progress the quest for getting your class mount. Oh, that's frustrating. Honestly, I would want weekly lockouts to work exactly the same, where basically the allowance system is the most genius solution in history, and they only use it for the dumbest content in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, if the point of a weekly lockout is to say, hey, you don't have to, kill yourself the week the game the week the raid comes out. Go ahead and knock it out the first week and then you're done. But if you weren't playing the game and your sub was active for 3 weeks, give me 3 weekly allowances to grind it out then, once it's a little bit easier.
If our people are to have any hope to survive, we must
Yeah, I would do that with tombstones too. Like, go ahead and have a weekly limit for tombstones, fine. I have other bigger issues with tombstones in general. But if I fail to get my 350 tombstones in week 1, let me get 700 in week 2. That's a huge spider. Shit. Hold on 1 second. Landing right in front of my face. Hi, friend. Sorry, man. You stay in the corner, I'll leave you alone.
Lead us to Durotan, old friend.
Keep killing the other bugs. You and your progeny. The way Destiny does it, the most powerful gear is on a weekly, with a rotating set of dailies for less powerful but good gear. Every day you get a buff which stacks to get a powerful drop. Okay, that's kind of cool. I do think you can apply allowances to every kind of daily, though.
Run with the pack.
Especially since
Welcome, friend.
you should be able to balance it, because there's a finite number of days where the content is relevant, and you should be able to predict that number of days. Or there's a finite number of weeks. I mean, it's probably easier for a company like Square to predict, because they have a very rigid expansion and patch schedule where Blizzard does things on Blizzard time. Yeah. I recently sprayed the perimeter of the house. It's gotten a lot better.
We welcome you to receive our blessings. Reach out to the Shaman Stone. Embrace the wisdom of this land and the ancestors that came before us. Tell me,
I can feel it. This land speaks to me, but in a language I do not yet understand.
I am still scarred.
They make Thrall kind of look like Chris Metzen.
The spirits are quiet.
The spirits will never abandon you, Drekthar. This I can promise.
Sure is a pointy rock.
Spirits walk with you.
Yeah, all loot games are manipulative. Right, hearing a little ding noise.
What is it?
Fight as one.
I appreciate them adding anything that helps with drops in a Diablo-like game.
Go, win us a great victory. Tell my husband I will defend the town until he returns.
Alright.
Warriors, today the tide turns. We will claim Bladespire Citadel as our own. Fight as one. We win this together.
was doing this really cool quest chain in Pandaria before I outleveled it, where I'm like in this area that's completely overwhelmed by like the hate spirits, the Shaw crap that I was saying the expansion does a really good job of building and foreshadowing. And part of it is you have to keep releasing these like hero mantis monster guys, these like bug people, and they're all encased in amber, and you rescue like 10 of them in the course of like 5 hours of questing there. And then it seemed like it was all building to what was essentially going to be a cool raid dungeon where you run with them and go like fight their corrupted empress together. So I guess they were safe from the corruption while they were in the amber. But I'm never going to know that because I outleveled it before I finished the quest chain, and I assume that even if I hadn't outleveled it, I wouldn't have been able to do the dungeon or the raid to see what happened anyway. I would say 99% are shit, yeah, in Diablo. It doesn't... That problem becomes worse the longer you're playing. But when you first get to level cap, you care about everything, and then you care less and less about each subsequent drop. They must have brought Thrall back for this expansion, right? Because he had kind of pieced out around the time of Cataclysm, I think. I don't think he's present at all in Legion or Battle for Azeroth, at least not so far.
Loktar, Commander.
I guess the fact that you can change builds dynamically, if you get, you know, the item that improves your Phoenix spell, you just go back to town and switch to the Phoenix spell, and now you can use that unique. And maybe that's how you play your character instead of the way you were intending to.
Reinforcements approach.
That's what Spiky was saying. Oh, you're only respecing specific nodes, not even your whole character. Oh, Razor Tusk. I thought that was a Hearthstone card. You sell them and then get the thing you want. That's how Diablo 2 used to work.
Regroup and press on.
Diablo 3 moved after the auction house was gotten rid of. Everything is account bound, but if something drops while you're in this same instance with another player, you get 2 hours to trade it to them. Which I think I kind of like that mode. I think they made dungeons and raids work the same way in this game now. Or at least the older ones work that way. There's this cool theme in a lot of World of Warcraft with the zone phasing where you go places and your purpose is to try to gain territory. So like you'll get there and it'll be overrun with enemies and you'll kick ass there, and then your faction's NPCs will show up there. I think that's pretty cool. I've heard that it's somewhat controversial because I guess it leads to a problem where like it's really hard for you and a friend to see the same game world unless if you're on exactly the same quest step. But I don't know. How do I plant these banners? Oh, use them on ogre corpses. Okay. I'd see another thing to interact with. I feel like I'm much better at AoE damage than I am at single target right now. Should probably group up a bunch of these guys. Hit some of them outside real quick. So, selling in Path of Exile is still, at its core, a bartering system, though, isn't it? Like, you get items that effectively serve as currency, but aren't actually currency. Like maps and that sort of thing. Or, I guess, the game's equivalent of reagents. Calls them currency and expects them to use this, so we'll see. But they have some intrinsic value, don't they? Like, they can be destroyed to serve some purpose. It's not like gold, where gold is just kind of a bartering thing that doesn't do anything on its own. Joy of Draenor cooking. You use Draenor cooking in a number of recipes. Wow, I have to get that from a random drop. It's kind of cool if so. Oh, I must have to unlock cooking first. Oh right, I need to plant these flags. That's the reason I'm doing this. No, don't disappear, corpses! I need you here! Alright, well, don't kill them too fast, apparently. Whoops. Oh, Chaos Orbs let you reroll an item. That's interesting. Like that. Very clever. Does this thing ding when the time limit's up? I hope so. 15 minutes. Big issue I keep running into this game is facing. I keep accidentally not facing an enemy. And then the game doesn't, the combat's not visceral enough for me to know that I'm not facing them. It's super obvious in Final Fantasy XIV if you're not swinging and doing damage. Flashing icon on my follower mission finishes. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, this guy's in a flash. So do Alliance and Horde have totally separate garrisons? The way they've usually done expansions, or at least the way they did Wrath of the Lich King, was there were two landing zones on opposite sides of the continent that had roughly even level questing experiences, and the Horde would start on one and the Alliance would start on the other, and then you'd eventually meet and merge quests around the middle. I don't know if like the Alliance starts over in Shadowmoon Valley or something instead of Frostfire Ridge. Yeah, I don't like the Alliance. They're not interesting. It seems like a lot of the game, like the Alliance are kind of supposed to be foils for the Horde. At least with the more recent expansions, what I've heard about them are kind of about the Horde. The Alliance is kind of there for the ride. I guess there's a dwarf character who's super important. Frostwolf oil. Barrels of Frostwolf oil. Looking for shinies. Here's one. Definitely gonna get really good with their environment art. Even in the indoors, just the cartoony graphic style looks great, I think. Big fan of it. I'm glad that they've owned that. Sweet. Jerk. Somebody's complaining in the general chat about not liking this expansion, wanting to get to Legion. Fractured Forge Hammer. Is itself a quest? That's kind of cool. Oh, okay. I do like all the different ways you can obtain quests in this game. It's clever. Something that WoW is definitely missing is music. Like, it's there, but almost never makes me feel anything. And it seems like it's off and on. Sometimes it's connected to events happening in the game. I don't know, it's not like Final Fantasy 11 and 14 where like the zone music is really, and like especially the boss music is really critical and memorable. Gotcha, profanity filter. Oh, 98 lets me go straight to Legion? I thought I had to get all the way to 100. Closer than I thought with doing those, doing the archaeology digs. About to hit 96. '98's the level that Demon Hunter starts at, right? So Demon Hunter doesn't have to do anything from Warlords of Draenor. Odd. Yeah. So is the weapon just a stat stick now? Does it have any of its old cool effects? Well, I guess the earliest that I can do Legion sounds like it's 98. But I could keep going in Warlords to 100 if I wanted to. But I could also start doing Legion right away at 98. JRPGs care more about the soundtrack. Yeah, I don't know. That might be... I complain a lot about JRPGs, but it's just because of playing a lot of them and seeing a lot of them as samey, but video game music is really important to me. It's like unironically the main kind of music that I listen to, even when I'm not playing video games. It bums me out when a game series doesn't really care about its music. Tribal drums if you're in the Horde side, and triumphant horns if you're Alliance. Morrowind rotates to the same music everywhere and it kind of gets old. Yeah. Do you think a lot of Western games don't really care? Mass Effect does. BioWare has generally been pretty good about music. It's a really memorable soundtrack. It's definitely more like atmospheric, ambient. But I'd say Mass Effect takes music about as seriously as like Star Wars takes music. Oh, cool. Hey, this is an Ocarina of Time challenge. But this is the cool questing shit that I wish there was more of in games like Final Fantasy XIV. It's simple, but they put the effort into it. Starfang music one is good.
Champion.
I'll check it out at some point. I like the music in StarCraft. That's pretty memorable. I've heard a lot of it on Rainwave. And I guess Overwatch has a theme. But it's never really something that I've interpreted them as the putting as a really, really high priority. Like the boss music in the primal fights in FF14 is a significant element of the entire fight experience. I'll scope them out. Witcher 3 soundtrack is way better than I was expecting it to be. Cool. And I'm still really excited to play those Witcher games. Especially the third one. Sounds like it's really, really good. Yeah, I think so. I don't know, it's 14 doesn't have Uematsu. It has a new composer that I was really nervous about. And then all the music is brand new. Doesn't reuse a lot of existing themes. For the primals anyway. Actually, does the prelude even show like what old Final Fantasy themes are in 14? Good King Mogomog.
Important work here.
Science theme.
Fight with honor.
Chocobo theme. Dancing Mad, yeah. I guess the Omega dungeons are all nostalgia based. I think Soken actually shines less when he's covering Uematsu stuff. He's doing really well when he's making his own stuff. The Titan music was cringy. No. Your loss. Come on, there you go. Never gonna play a game where the tap targeting actually feels right. Yeah, right. supposed to be Bow Down Overdweller, right? But it's a bunch of Japanese guys trying to say that really fast. Overdweller is not the best word to have a Japanese person say. Especially when they're singing quickly and there's not really enough meter in there. Bollywood tunes. Let's rescue these Frostwolf slaves. This particular mission structure is like bordering on their ass's level of repeated. There's only so many MMO quests that you can actually do in most cases, but go kill the enemies and then free the NPC slaves nearby. I think I've seen in every expansion so far. Serious? How do I get her in my line of sight? Really? Okay, that's an interesting book. MMOs have a lot of problems in general with content that feels really cool if you see it or experience once and gets annoying on even one repetition. People are already asking for WoW trinkets or equipment that let you skip cutscenes or events in raids for people that are going back and farming for transmogs. Really cool the first time, just less cool every subsequent time. I hit level 96, and that means absolutely nothing. Like I said, from level 80 to 120, I think I get 2 talents and no powers. Nothing at all changes about my character. You really should level squish it. And I think they should probably level squish it down to the point where every level results in a new thing. More. So I think I'm going to go for about another 20 minutes or so. I do have to wake up in about 7 hours to take care of Cameron, so I don't want to be up too late. But this will be a good, hey, I saw what Warlords of Draenor is like on stream, and I started doing garrisons and all that fun stuff. And then next time I stream or record this, I'll probably have leveled up enough to do Legion, and I'll record or stream Legion content. Family, there's power. Is there though?
I will stay here.
Climb the chain. Oh, cool.
Rescued.
Thanks, Thrall.
Furious little Orclane. In your blind rage, you rush to face my ogres alone. I'll drown you in the blood of your little army. Oh, they will end you, little lone wolf. Your conquered clan will fill my slave pen.
So I'm digging this a bit just because it's like an entire expansion based around the orcs. I guess they could start doing that, right? Final Fantasy XIV is already kind of making expansions that are kind of sort of based around a class. Heavensward is essentially the Dragoon expansion. Stormblood is sort of the monk expansion. Looks like they've fallen back on threat escalation though. Full Morrowind OST is 46 minutes long. Not great for a 100-hour game. No kidding.
You are tiny, useless insects.
I wish I could. I already miss having a controller. It was so nice to like target lock in Final Fantasy XIV. Be able to use the D-pad to easily like strafe around a boss. And know that I was constantly landing my auto attacks because of the lock-on. Auto attacks are a really big component of damage in this game. I think they're much bigger than Final Fantasy XIV. It might even be more than all other kinds of damage.
The citadel is ours. Come, brother. We press the attack. Welcome, friend of Noganar. We are surrounded and exposed. We must fortify. You are too cautious. I will gather our warriors and do it myself. Reckless brother.
Art boots. Art gloves. I'll figure out what not to use. So the only non-heirloom items are bracers, gloves, boots, and belt. And I guess rings, but I can get rings in this expansion.
You have proven
Doing
yourself
garrison
loyal to my
missions.
clan, capable of great things.
Yeah, hold on. Details.
On Bladespire is tenuous, and some of my best warriors have raced off with my reckless brother.
Yeah, melee is by far my highest damage percentage.
Dorok the Ruthless.
Interesting. And Heartstrike is my most commonly used ability, and it's one of my lowest DPS.
Continue to fight by our side.
It's only my most commonly used ability because it's the thing that I default to if I don't have anything else I can use. It's a point generator, basically. Bloodworm actually does okay damage. Downtime. Yeah. Well, I'm always pressing buttons. I think that maybe changes at higher level. What level's your Death Knight again? I think part of that is the GCD problem that I guess they're trying to fix in the next major patch in early December.
Together or die alone. When you see Draka, tell her that I will be home soon.
See, something that I like about garrisons is that they make me care about quest rewards, because now any side quest in the game can reward garrison resources. And I actually do kind of care about those because they do a lot of good. I manage this without having to go back there? No, I have to go back there, don't I? Got Smash the Destroyer. 3 players. Okay. It's sort of like Praxis in Deus Ex, right? It's a potentially finite resource. It's not experience points.
Everybody pulls their weight.
5 to 76 for the GCD thing on a mix of Blood Unholy. Boosted to 110 that I've been playing as Frost.
What is it?
Ha. So far, I don't feel too much like I'm waiting for runes. I'll try to pay attention to it the next fight I get into. But it's like I typically run in, I throw Blood Boil on everything, which doesn't cost any runes. And then I Heart Strike to get some runic power, and Marrow Rend to get my Bone Shield up for haste. And then I throw down Death and Decay. Then I probably pop Blood Boil again just to get the procs for it. By then I probably have enough runic power that I can use Death Strike. Then I use Blood Drinker to get some healing. And by that point, I've got enough runes back from using stuff that consumes runic power that I can go back to Heart Strike and start over. I think auto attack is just a large percentage of damage for most of the melee characters in the game.
For the Dark Spear.
Should be a mission now that they changed mob health. I see. Yeah. Completed a mission. Good job. You get a little loot box at the end? I don't know, I kind of like that. I get why people hate it, but a rare friend. Recruit a rare follower. What? I could see myself messing around with this quite a bit. Post. Where's this contract that was picked up? Spend it outside, maybe? It's not actually a real inventory item. It's not showing in the recents. Unlocks a personal engineer that creates a powerful invention each day. Ogre Waystone. You no longer get dazed by enemies or riding mounts. That sounds fun. Increase mount speed by 20%. Sounds really good. Needed to do this for quest reasons. Still need 40 more resources though. So the garrison cast just produces resources every so often, I guess? Bodyguard miniaturization device. Miniaturize your bodyguard for 1 hour. 1 hour cooldown. Okay.
Spirits be with you.
Alright, well I need to figure out where to use this contract. It doesn't seem to be an actual inventory item.
Greetings. Be careful.
That's quest progress. Night Watch, bonus XP. Bonus follower XP. Oh, it looks like it just gave it to me automatically. So maybe it gave me the item and then consumed it right away. Okay. She's good at that, I see. Look at the other options. Neither of them are good at this one. Actually, this is what they're trying to teach me. She's rare because she's blue. Okay, let's see. Neither of them are good at this one either. So let's try this one because she's good at it. It's 100% chance. 74 is still not bad. $30 minutes. Okay. Cool, and I feel like that's probably a good stopping point for tonight, so I get some sleep to take care of Cameron tomorrow. In Legion, BFA, your files get XP as you send them out. It levels them up. Oh, that's cool. And they can get up to the cap from that expansion. So they'd probably start at 90 and make it up to 100, I guess. Oh, right on. That's neat. Oh, thanks, folks, for hanging out. Like I said, the next time I do one of these will be when I finish Warlords and I get to Legion, which will probably be fairly soon. I'll go ahead and wrap here.